What did the ancient Greeks eat daily? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals. What meat did they prefer? I remember when I was writing something on Battle of Marathon, I had to call a general of the armed forces to ask him what they ate, what the Athenians, the soldiers in fighting against the Persians in Marathon would eat. And he said, well, there were villages in the area around the mountains above the plain of Marathon that would supply them with cheese and yogurt and milk from their sheep and goats, and also olives and olive oil and bread, onions and things like that from their fields. Now, what did they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what meat did they prefer? If we invited someone for dinner for the most important minds of ancient Greece, such as Herodotus, Hercules, Aristophanes, we would surely, Plato, Aristotle, we would surely surprise them with the wealth and variety of food we would offer them today. This is because many of the foods, today's foods, were completely unknown in their time, while our eating habits differ significantly. First of all, contrary to what modern nutritionists claim about the benefits of a rich breakfast, the ancient Greeks started their day with a very simple meal, which included some barley bread dipped in wine, olives, and figs. Another common breakfast was kikeonas, a drink made from boiled barley, flavored with mint or thyme, which was believed to have healing properties. I guess you would call this some kind of a Quaker Oats or a cereal type of breakfast. At noon, they used to eat fish, such as sea bream, red mullet, sardines, eels, vegetables, and mainly lentils, beans, chickpeas, peas, and broad beans, bread, cheese, olives, eggs, nuts, and fruits. Another contrast with today is observed when it comes to dinner, as although today's doctors advise us that the dinner should be very light, our ancestors considered it the most important and largest meal of the day. It was accompanied by desserts, the so-called tragimata, which could be fresh or dried fruit, figs, walnuts, grapes, or sweets with honey. The ancients showed a special preference for pork and beef, while less often they ate goat and lamb. They also loved hunting, especially quail and deer. They also loved snails, which the Cretans ate from the time of the ancient Minoans. Fruits, and that's about 1600 BC, by the way, before that. Now, fruits and vegetables may have played a leading role in their daily table, but there was not as much variety as there is today. Fruits such as oranges, tangerines, peaches, and bananas may not have existed, but pears, pomegranates, apples, figs, berries, cherries, plums were in great demand. As for vegetables, the Athenians cultivated them in their gardens and had a special love for bulbs, lettuce, cucumbers, peas, artichokes, green vlita, which are very sweet greenery, celery, dill, and mint. Others, such as mushrooms, fennel, asparagus, and even tender nettles, were sought after in rivers and fields. They also had a great love for bread, since they used to make several types, from laganas, which are a flat type of a bread that you sort of fry almost, seminola breads, and bread from coarse flour, to millet bread. The kitchen shelves of an ancient Greek house always had to be equipped with various spices and condiments such as oregano, basil, mint, thyme, cardamom, coriander, capers, and sesame, which they used to add to make their dishes more delicious. Most meals were very light, as they were baked in an oven and on a spit, while the same was true for sweets, as since there was no sugar and cocoa, they were made from flour, dried or fresh fruit, and honey. Each meal, of course, was accompanied by wine, while the table never lacked olive oil, which they considered a gift from the goddess Athena in their city. In any case, the ancients were on a diet. That is why microbanks and leaf eaters had anointed themselves. They ate a wide variety of foods, but in very small quantities, as they believed that the purpose of the food was to satisfy the palate and not to fill the stomach. The most hardcore of the Greeks were the Spartans, as we know, and we know that the Spartans were Hebrews, according to the Old Testament book of Maccabees. I advise that you read it. Yes, the Spartans were Hebrews. That's why they did not help the Athenians in the Battle of Marathon. That's because they had their Rosh Hashanah, and they came 2 days after the Battle of Marathon had finished. So the Greeks, hardcore, most of the Greeks were the Spartans, who even in their diet followed the laconic austerity, and of course we know they never ate pork, with their daily diet to include a cup of black broth and a piece of bread, while on special occasions and celebrations they had some wine and pie. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.